Hello student, welcome to digital classes. This video is for class 9, subject is science, and this is the second part of force and law of motion. In the first part I discussed about what is force, balanced and unbalanced force, Galileo's observation, Newton's first law of motion and inertia. This is the chapter 9 in our book Force and Newton's law of motion. This is the second part of this chapter. In this video I am going to tell you about the linear momentum, Newton's second law of motion, mathematical formulation of the Newton's second law of motion, some application of Newton's second law of motion, and the last, Newton's first law of motion is a special case of Newton's second law of motion. Now before the second law of motion, let us discuss about momentum. It is the product of mass and velocity, and the SI unit is kg meter per second, and momentum is represented by letter P. Now the momentum of a body is the product of its mass and velocity. Momentum is equal to mass multiplied by velocity, means P is equal to mv, where P is the momentum of the body, m is the mass of the body, and v is the velocity of the body. If a body is at rest, the velocity is 0, so its momentum is also 0. The SI unit of momentum is kilogram meter per second or kg meter per second. Let us take some example to understand the momentum of a body clearly. Now the first example, a truck moving at a very low speed can kill a person standing in its path because of a heavy mass of the truck. A bullet of small mass, when fired from a gun, can kill a person because of the large velocity of the bullet. So the impact of body depends upon its mass as well as velocity. In the game of table tennis, if the ball hits a player, he is not hurt, but when a cricket ball moving at the same speed as the table tennis ball hits a spectator, he is hurt. This is because the cricket ball is much heavier than the tennis ball. We conclude or we observe from the examples that the impact of motion produced by object depends on their mass and velocity. Therefore, there must be some quantity of importance that combines mass of a body and a velocity of a body. Newton's identified this quantity and named it as linear momentum of the body. So the linear momentum is a vector quantity posing both the magnitude as well as direction. The direction of the linear momentum is the same as the direction of the velocity. From Newton's first law of motion, we have learned that a force is required to change the velocity of a body. When velocity of the body change, its linear momentum also change. Therefore, an external force is required to change the linear momentum of the body also. To understand Newton's second law of motion, let us start Newton's second law of motion. Now the Newton's second law of motion, according to the second law, the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force applied on it. Now let us understand with an example. To understand Newton's second law of motion, let us imagine a situation in which a car with a dead battery is to be started. We know that a speed of 1 meter per second given to a car may be sufficient to start its engine. Now if one or two persons give a sudden push to a car, it hardly starts. But when the car is pushed continuously for some time over a straight road, it might start. This is because the speed of the car increased gradually from 0 to 1 meter per second over this time. From this situation, we learn that the change in linear momentum of a car is brought about by suitable magnitude of the force and the suitable time during which the force is exerted. Newton concluded for this studies that force necessary to change the linear momentum of the body would depend upon the rate of the change of linear momentum of the body. This leads to the second law of motion. According to Newton's second law of motion, the rate of change of linear momentum of a body is directly proportional to the external force applied on the body, and this change takes place always in the direction of the applied force. I repeat, according to the Newton's second law of motion, the rate of change of linear momentum of a body is directly proportional to the external force applied on the body, and this change takes place always in the direction of the applied force. This is a very important derivation. Everyone has to write this derivation in their copy. Mathematical formulation of the second law of motion. If an object of mass m is moving along a straight line with initial velocity u and is accelerated to the velocity v in time t by applying a force F, then initial momentum is equal to P1, means initial momentum is equal to P1, that is equal to mu, and the final momentum is P2, which is equal to mv. Now the change in momentum is equal to P2 minus P1, which is equal to mv minus mu. Now m is common, that is v minus u. Now the change in linear momentum of the body is equal to m bracket v minus u. Now the rate change of linear momentum is equal to change in linear momentum upon time taken. So this is mv minus u upon t, but v minus u upon t is equal to change in velocity upon time taken. Rate of change of velocity, which is equal to acceleration of the body, which is equal to a. Therefore from the equation 1, rate of change of linear momentum is equal to ma. According to the Newton's second law of motion, rate of change of linear momentum is equal to or directly proportionate to force applied, that is ma is proportionate to f, or f is proportionate to ma, or f is equal to kma, where k is a constant of the proportionality. The value of k depends on the unit adopted by measuring force. If we define F is equal to 1 when mass is equal to 1 and A is equal to 1, that is unit force is that much force which produces unit acceleration in a body of unit mass. 1 is equal to K multiplied by 1 multiplied by 1, or K is equal to 1. Putting this value of K in the equation 2, we get F is equal to ma. This is the mathematical form of Newton's second law of motion. It stated that force acting on a body is the product of mass of the body and the acceleration of the body. Unit of the force, you know that, Newton. 1 Newton of force is that much force which produces an acceleration of 1 meter per second square of a body of mass 1 kilogram. So 1 Newton is equal to 1 kg meter per second. Now some important notes from the Newton's second law of motion. We learned that no force is required to move a body uniformly along a straight line. When a body is moving uniformly along a straight line and there is no force of friction, acceleration or retardation of a body, A is equal to 0. According to Newton's second law of motion, F is equal to ma. M multiplied by acceleration is 0, so the force is 0. Now the second, accelerated motion is always due to some external force acting on the body. The magnitude of the force acting on a body is the product of mass of the body and the acceleration of the body. Thus, Newton's second law of motion gives a measure of force, quantitative definition of force. Recollect that Newton's first law of motion gave us quantitative definition of the force. Now, let us take some application of Newton's second law of motion. Some of our day-to-day observation can be explained in terms of Newton's second law of motion as F is equal to ma is equal to m in bracket v minus u upon t. Therefore, the force F can be reduced by increasing time taken t for the change in linear momentum of the body. For example, catching a cricket ball. These situations are very important to understand momentum and Newton's second law of motion. Now first, catching a cricket ball. To catch a fast cricket ball, a player pulls his hand backward to prevent injury to his hand. By doing so, the player increase the time during which high velocity of the cricket ball reduced to zero. Thus the acceleration of the ball a is equal to v minus u upon t is decreased, and therefore the impact of catching the fast ball F, that is F is equal to ma, is reduced. That is, the player has to apply a smaller force against the ball in order to stop it. The ball in turn exert a smaller force on his hand and the hand are not injured. If the ball were stopped suddenly, the high velocity of the ball would be reduced to zero in a very short interval of time t. Therefore, the rate of change of linear momentum of the ball would be large, and therefore a large force would have to be applied for holding the catch. The hand of the player would or may be hurt. Now the second application is from the high jump. In an athletic event, high jump, the athletes are made to fall either on the cushioned bed or on a sand bed. This is done to avoid injury to the athletes. Falling on the cushioned bed or on a sand bed will increase the time during which the high velocity of the athlete would be reduced to zero. This would decrease the rate of change of momentum of the athlete and hence the force on the athlete. The injury to the athlete is thus avoided. Let us take one more application based on the Newton's second law of motion, that is use of seat belt in the car. All the cars these days are provided with seat belts for the passengers, which are rightly called safety belts. The purpose of seat belts is to be prevent injury to the person in case of an accident or in case of a sudden application of brake. In both the cases, the large momentum of the car reduced to zero in a very short interval of time, resulting in the development of a large force causing injury. The stretchable safety belt worn by the passenger of the car exert a force on their body and make the forward motion slower. The time taken by the passenger to fall forward increases. Therefore, the rate of change of momentum of passenger is reduced. Hence, the stopping force acting on the passenger is reduced. They may not get injuries at all, or they may get away from the minor injuries. That is why it is suggested in car or for car the passenger must wear a seat belt while driving. Now the Newton's first law of motion is a special case of Newton's second law. Newton's first law of motion can be deduced from Newton's second law of motion. According to Newton's second law of motion, F is equal to ma, that is equal to m in bracket v minus u upon t. So F into t is equal to mv minus mu. When no external force is applied, F is equal to 0. From the equation 1, mv minus mu is equal to 0, or mv is equal to mu, or v is equal to u. It means that the body will continue to move with the same uniform velocity u throughout the time t when no external force is applied on the body. Further, if u is equal to 0, then v will also be 0. It means if the body is at initially at rest, it will continue to be at rest when no external force is applied to the body. Now these are the important points which already we done in this video. Let us recall. Linear momentum P of a body is the product of mass of a body and velocity of the body, that is P is equal to mv. It is a vector quantity whose direction is along the direction of the velocity of the body. The SI unit of linear momentum is kg meter per second. According to the second law of motion, the rate of change of linear momentum of a body is directly proportional to the external force applied on the body, and this change takes place away in the direction of the applied force. Force is a vector quantity whose direction is same as the direction of the acceleration of the body. And third is Newton's second law of motion is represented by F is equal to ma. SI unit of force in Newton is Newton. 1 Newton is that much force which produce an acceleration of 1 meter per second square in a body of mass 1 kg or kilogram. So 1 Newton is equal to 1 kg meter per second square. No force is required to move a body uniformly along a straight line. An accelerated motion is always due to some external force acting on the body. Some of the application of Newton's second law of motion are catching a cricket ball, the case of high jump, and the use of seat belts in the car, etc. Newton's first law of motion can be deduced from the Newton's second law of motion. Let us take some numericals to understand about Newton's second law of motion. Now first is a force of 5 Newton gives a mass m1, an acceleration of 8 meter per second square, and a mass m2, an acceleration of 24 meter per second square. What acceleration would it gives if both the masses are tied together? Now solution. Here force is equal to 5 Newton. For mass m1, acceleration is equal to 8 meter per second square, and for mass m2, acceleration is equal to 24 meter per second square. For combined mass, that is m1 plus m2, acceleration is equal to question mark. Now F is equal to m1 multiplied by a1 is equal to m2 multiplied by a2. So m1 is equal to f upon a1, that is 5 upon 8, and m2 is equal to f upon a2, which is equal to 5 upon 24. Now m1 plus m2 is equal to 5 upon 8 plus 5 upon 24, that is equal to 5.6 kg. Thus A is equal to f upon m1 plus m2, because f is equal to ma. So it is 5 upon 5.6, that is 6 meter per second square. Now with a graph, the speed time graph of a car is given. You will see in the figure also. The car weight is 1000 kg. We have to find A, what is the distance traveled by the car in the first 2 seconds. What is, and the B is what is the braking force applied to the end of 5 seconds to bring the car to a stop within 1 second. Solution. Here mass of the car is 1000 kg. We have to first find the distance traveled by car in 2 seconds. In the first 2 seconds, the speed time graph is OA. So we have to find the distance using the area of triangle. S is equal to area of triangle, that is half base into height, and if we put the value, the base is 2 and the height is 15 upon 2, that is equal to 15 meters. So the distance is 15 meter traveled by the car in first 2 seconds. Now the Second, initial speed u is equal to 15 meter per second. Final we don't know, that is v is equal to 0 and time is 1 second. We have to find out the braking force in the second part. So F is equal to ma. Now ma is equal to m in bracket v minus u upon t. So F is equal to 1000. Final velocity is 0, 0 minus 15 in bracket upon 1. So it is minus 15,000 Newton. Negative sign is for opposing force. Now I hope everyone would understand what I taught about the second law of motion in this video. And if there is any doubt or confusion, you may ask within a class.